Imagine attempting to map the invisible energy field of your soul.
Right, which sounds totally abstract.
Yeah, exactly. But instead of, looking inward during a silent meditation retreat, you map it by tracing the violent, crushing tectonic plates of the Dead Sea Rift.
It's wild. It completely bridges the gap between the spiritual and the physical.
It really does. Today, we are tearing down the wall between abstract theology and literal physical science. We are diving into a landscape where ancient spiritual texts are not treated as just, metaphorical poetry, but as applied thermodynamics.
Yeah, and we are unpacking a staggering framework by Dr. Khaled Waleed. It's titled Low Soul Shield, The Energetics of Spiritual Protection.
Welcome to today's deep dive, by the way. I'm so excited for this one.
Oh, me too. So Dr. Waleed basically treats ancient scripture as a cosmic laboratory.
A cosmic laboratory. I love that phrasing.
Right. He takes linguistics, spiritual energetics, and physical geography and synthesizes them. And he argues that a literal energetic shield surrounds human consciousness.
And that this shield actually comes with its own mathematical equations, governed by the same physical laws that shaped, like, the Middle East's most extreme geological formation.
Exactly. It's a massive shift in how we read these texts.
So our mission today is to understand how a single Arabic root word for harm scales up into a physics formula for the human soul, and ultimately how it maps onto the geography of Jerusalem, the Dead Sea, and ancient Babylon.
But to grasp this massive geographic map Dr. Waleed builds, we really have to start at the microscopic level,
Right. We need to look at the physics of individual human consciousness.
Yeah, so Dr. Waleed begins with the concept of libas al-taqwa.
Which traditionally you'll see translated as what? Like the shield of piety.
Yeah, shield of piety or the garment of righteousness. For centuries, scholars have treated this as a beautiful metaphor for just having good character.
Just being a good person.
Right. But Dr. Waleed strips the poetry completely away. In his framework, this shield is an active, measurable, basically electromagnetic-like perimeter surrounding a person's reasoning and guidance.
Wow. Okay, let's unpack this. Because saying we have an invisible shield sounds a bit like, I don't know, a sci-fi spaceship.
It does sound like sci-fi, yeah.
So it's like the deflector shields on a sci-fi spaceship. Before the hull, meaning the physical body takes a hit, the invisible energy shield has to be breached. How does he justify moving this from a moral concept to a physical, energetic perimeter?
Well, he finds the proof in the linguistic precision of the source texts. He examines the Arabic root word for harm, which is D-R-R. The word is dur.
Duh.
Okay. Now, he doesn't define dur merely as, experiencing a tough time or feeling sad. He defines it mechanically. It is a sudden drop or puncturing of this specific energetic field.
And the textual evidence relies on a stark contrast between two very specific verbs, right? Mass and lambs.
Exactly. And this is crucial.
So lambs means physical, tactile touch, like skin-to-skin contact or, hand touching a wall.
Yeah, physical contact. But the texts pointedly do not use lambs when describing dur.
They use mass.
Right, they use mass. Mass describes penetrating an invisible field. It means reaching a depth without necessarily making contact with the solid surface beneath it.
Oh, that's fascinating. So Dr. Waleed shows that the text is explicitly stating this energetic shield is breached, and that breach is the mass long before the physical body is ever touched.
Yes. The energetic hit happens first.
That brings to mind surface tension.
Oh, how so?
Well, if you have a perfectly spherical drop of water, it's held together by this invisible tension. That tension is the shield.
Right, the cohesive force.
Yeah. And dur isn't a physical hammer smashing the water. Dur is a single drop of liquid soap. The moment the soap touches the invisible surface, it breaks the chemical bonds. The tension shatters, and the water just collapses and scatters everywhere.
Oh, that analogy captures the mechanism perfectly. It's all about the sudden loss of cohesion.
Exactly.
And Dr. Waleed actually breaks down this root, DRR, into 4 distinct variations to catalog exactly how this cohesion is lost.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first is simply dur, which is that sudden individual field drop you just described, a microscopic puncture in a single person's shield.
But I'm guessing the soap drop can get bigger.
Oh, it scales up significantly. It scales up into the second variation, which is dara.
Dara.
Yeah, this represents a collective field drop. Dara occurs when the energetic shield of an entire society collapses.
Wow. An entire society.
And its primary symptom is the breaking of societal pairs. Husbands and wives separate, communities fracture, business partnerships dissolve. It is the physics of collective scattering.
Which leads to the third variation, and this one honestly sounds like spiritual warfare, DR.
Yeah, DR is heavy. It's the active engineered weaponization of this energy drop.
Engineered.
Yes, it is intentional structural sabotage designed to separate a population from the divine. Dr. Waleed references the historical concept of a masjid dirar.
A mosque.
Right, this was a physical mosque built by hypocrites, not for worship, but entirely with the hidden, calculated intention of causing division in the community.
Wait, structural sabotage? You're saying people built physical architecture solely to act as a disruption engine to an invisible energy field?
According to this framework, absolutely.
But how does the text differentiate a malicious structural attack from just, a normal accident or a natural illness that lowers your defenses?
That distinction is exactly why the fourth variation exists, which is darar.
Dar. Okay.
Dar is a field drop, yes, but one that occurs by divine permission. It acts as a valid physical bypass.
Like what?
Think of a permanent illness, blindness, or a severe physical handicap.
I see.
In Dr. Waleed's framework, the energetic shield of that individual is lowered, but because it is an authorized darar, the usual spiritual expectations or physical duties placed on that person are lifted. The system basically recognizes the vulnerability and adjusts the load.
Wow. So we have a highly technical diagnostic manual for how the shield drops.
We really do.
But if dur is the soap breaking the surface tension, what is actively synthesizing the soap? What generates this force of separation? And more importantly for you listening, how do you rebuild the tension once it shatters?
To answer that, we have to look at Dr. Waleed's definition of magic, or SIR.
Okay, magic. But we aren't talking about stage tricks here, right?
No, absolutely not. To understand this framework, you must abandon any concept of pulling rabbits out of hats or mere optical illusions. Dr. Waleed defines SIR as the fundamental science of separation.
Magic as separation.
Yes. It is applied entropy.
Meaning it takes ordered energy and scrambles it into chaos.
Specifically, it separates energy from matter. Dr. Waleed highlights that the primary stated function of SIR in these ancient texts is to separate a soul from its mate.
Like breaking a pair, like we talked about with Dara.
Exactly. When a bonded pair is broken, whether that's a marriage or a person's bond to their own reasoning, the circuit is severed. The energetic shield instantly collapses.
So magic is simply the engineered application of dur. But, physics demands balance. If there is an entropic force of separation, there must be a nigentropic force, right?
Yeah.
A force that creates order and binds things together.
And there is. Dr. Waleed introduces the exact opposite linguistic root, which is SRR, or SAR.
SAR.
Yes. SAR means to gather, to bind tightly, to pull disparate pieces into a cohesive whole.
The antidote.
Exactly. If dur is the demonic science of scattering, SAR is the divine law of gathering. It is the force that reestablishes those broken bonds and restores the shield's surface tension.
Wait, so you're saying Dr. Waleed reads these ancient scriptures and essentially sees a thermodynamic equation for spiritual health. It's literally a physics formula for the soul.
He literally formalizes it into what we can call the mathematical equation of the soul.
Oh, this is crazy. Okay, let's visualize the variables.
Sure. Let's say L represents the shield, the libus.
Okay, L is the shield.
D represents the force of separation, dur.
Right.
And S represents the force of gathering, sar.
So we are tracking the state of L based on the inputs of D and S.
Exactly. Dr. Waleed proposes that a person's reasoning and guidance at any given moment is the direct output of this dynamic calculation. The formula is basically your future shield, let's call it L next, equals your current shield, L current minus D plus S.
L next equals L current minus D plus S. That is wild. So
Yeah.
every single instance of separation or harm subtracts energy from your perimeter, and every act of gathering or binding adds energy back.
Right, and this is not just a metaphor for tallying good and bad deeds on some cosmic ledger.
It's actual mechanics.
Yes, this is real-time energy transfer. If your L drops to 0 because the D overwhelmed the S, you lose your reasoning. You become entirely vulnerable to external manipulation. The internal engine has basically stalled.
Okay, here's where I need to pump the brakes for a second.
Sure, go ahead.
Tracking an internal psychological or spiritual state using a thermodynamic equation is fascinating. But Dr. Waleed doesn't stop there.
No, he doesn't.
He takes a massive leap and argues that these invisible energetic states, SAR and Durmak, directly onto physical tectonic geography on Earth.
He does.
Why would an internal human energy equation require a specific geopolitical map That seems like a huge jump.
Well, it comes down to a structural philosophy that the macrocosm reflects the microcosm.
As above, so below kind of thing.
Exactly. In Dr. Waleed's framework, the Earth is essentially a fractal of the human soul. The spiritual realities of gathering and separation must have literal physical anchor points in the material world.
Okay, so how does he prove this geographic link?
To prove this, he starts with the linguistic concept of miss.
Now, historically, Miss is universally translated as the proper noun for the country of Egypt.
Right, standard translation. But Dr. Waleed argues that in the oldest contexts of these texts, Misr is not a modern nation-state at all.
What is it then?
It is a descriptive noun. A Misr is any land of gathering and security. It is a geographic location where the energetic force of Sar is dominant.
Oh, wow.
A place whose very nature gathers you in and reinforces your shield.
Okay, so if Miss is the category for any place of gathering, what is the apex? Where's the ultimate Miss?
The texts describe the ultimate center of gathering as Beca.
Beca, with a B.
Yes, Beca. Beca is the geographic core where crowding, binding together, and absolute security are generated. It is the physical anchor point where the spiritual shield is at its most impenetrable.
And he contrasts Beca with Mecca. Now, I want to warn you, listening, if you are familiar with standard historical geography, Dr. Waleed's mapping here is highly controversial.
Very controversial. It's important to remember we're just exploring his framework and where his linguistic analysis leads him.
Exactly. We're impartially reporting on his findings here. So what does he say about Mecca?
Well, Dr. Waleed argues that the Mecca mentioned in these ancient contexts does not align with the modern city located in the Hijaz desert of Saudi Arabia.
Okay. Where does he place it?
By rigidly following the energetic clues of the text rather than accept a tradition, he relocates the ancient Mecca to the historical region of Moab, near modern-day Petra in Jordan.
Here's where it gets really interesting. You're asking me to accept that he upends centuries of established geography just to satisfy this energy equation. How does he justify making that leap to Petra?
Because the text demands a geopolitical alignment of opposing voices.
The D and the S.
Right. If Beca is the inner fortress of safety-generating Sar, then Mecca represents the center of Dirar, the engineered, intentional harm.
The structural sabotage we talked about earlier.
Yes. Dr. Waleed links the ancient Petra region to the ruined cities mentioned in the texts, known as the Al-Mutafikat. Geographically and historically, this places the center of destruction in direct alignment with the magic and entropy of ancient Babylon.
Ah, I see. So the geography literally manifests the equation. Beca is generating the S, the gathering force. Mecca, situated near the influence of Babylon, is generating the D, the separation force.
What's a literal map of the battle?
But if Beca and these forces are real physical places, exactly where is this ultimate energetic shield located?
This is where his synthesis of linguistics and geology truly shines. He points to one of the most extreme geological formations on the planet.
The Syro-African Rift.
Exactly, specifically the Jordan Valley and the Dead Sea. Dr. Waleed argues this valley isn't just a historical backdrop. It is a literal cosmic laboratory perfectly designed to test the soul's shield.
So what does this all mean? How does a salt lake become a cosmic laboratory?
He proves this by matching the text to 5 massive geological anomalies of this specific rift.
Okay, let's go through them. Let's look at the containment vessel first, because a shield requires pressure, right?
Exactly. The texts speak of critical events occurring in the lowest of the Earth.
Well, the shores of the Dead Sea sit roughly 439 meters below sea level.
Right. It is literally the lowest terrestrial elevation on the planet. Because it is so deep, it acts as a massive atmospheric pressure vessel.
Which completely changes the behavior of the air and the water down there.
Exactly. And that leads to the second anomaly. Dr. Waleed points out that the texts frequently reference al-Yam.
Al-Yam, meaning what?
Al-Yam describes a closed, salty sea with absolutely no outlet, a thermodynamic sink.
Which perfectly describes the Dead Sea.
Right. The Dead Sea takes in water and energy from the surrounding geography, but it releases nothing. It traps the energy entirely.
But a closed system needs a balance to keep from destroying itself.
Right.
Otherwise, it just overloads.
Which brings us to the third geological feature, the lisan.
Lisan translates to the tongue, doesn't it?
It literally translates to the tongue. And the Dead Sea features a massive tongue-shaped peninsula thrusting into the water, which physically divides the northern and southern basins.
That's like a scale.
Yes, it acts as a geological fulcrum, a literal scale balancing the trapped energies of the sea.
Okay, so we have a deep pressure vessel, a closed energy sink, and a physical balance. But where's the active energy coming from? A thermodynamic equation needs a pump.
That pump is the water system. Dr. Waleed connects the deep Kidron Valley to the ancient valley of Weeping, or Beca.
Beca. Sounds a lot like Baca.
Exactly. And located inside this valley is the Gihon Spring. The texts describe a highly specific water phenomenon called main.
My main.
Yes. Main is water that springs forth, retreats back into the earth, and then bursts out again.
Like a pulsing valve.
Exactly like a pulsing valve. The Gihon Spring is one of the world's few major rhythmic siphon springs.
Wait, really? It pulses?
It does. It operates on a hydraulic mechanism that literally pulses water out multiple times a day and then sucks it back in, mirroring the dynamic flow of energy being pushed and pulled within the system.
That is uncanny. And what's the fifth anomaly?
The final anomaly acts as a cautionary tale for what happens when the dir completely overwhelms the S.
When the shield drops to zero.
Right. The text describes societies that were destroyed and entombed beneath a massive, impenetrable barrier of salt to Hajmershore.
A salt dome.
Yes. Modern geological surveys of the Dead Sea's southern basin reveal structural anomalies buried under a colossal salt dome. Dr. Waleed identifies this as the literal entombment of the ruined cities of Lot.
Wow. So it is a geographic monument to the ultimate collapse of the shield.
That's exactly how he views it.
Okay, so we have this incredibly volatile trench.
Mm-hmm.
But how does this extreme geography connect back to the Libas al-Taqwa, that invisible shield protecting human reasoning?
Dr. Waleed looks at the cosmic alignment of the valley itself. To the east, you have the mountains of Moab, historically referred to as the Mount of Figs or Sinan.
Okay.
To the west, you have the mountains of Hebron, the Mount of Olives or Zaytun.
The figs in the east, the olives in the west.
And folded deep into the earth between them is this rift, which he identifies as the sacred valley of Tuwa.
So it's this protected pocket.
Yes. And because the valley is nearly half a kilometer below sea level, the atmospheric density is off the charts.
Which means the air is different.
Oxygen levels are significantly higher than anywhere else on Earth. More importantly, there is an unnaturally thick ozone layer that heavily filters out harmful UV radiation.
Oh, I see. The atmosphere itself is acting as a heavier, more protective shield.
Exactly. And the texts explicitly call it the sky that returns, or Sama Dadaraj.
The sky that returns.
Yes. It is a canopy that bounces harmful radiation back into space while trapping life-giving elements inside.
Like a mirror.
Exactly. Dr. Waleed argues that this macro shield in the sky perfectly mirrors the micro shield around the human soul.
So this valley between the Mount of Figs and the Mount of Olives is essentially an environmental crucible designed to test the limits of gathering and separation.
It is a literal pressure cooker for the soul.
And this crucible is the setting for the ultimate spiritual journey in the texts, isn't it? The night journey or the Isra.
It is. But true to form, Dr. Waleed completely upends the traditional view of what this journey actually was.
Of course he does.
The night journey is typically taught as a purely mystical, vertical ascension into the heavens.
Right, flying up into the sky.
Dr. Waleed, however, analyzes the specific linguistics of the journey across this geographical map and concludes it was horizontal.
Horizontal, like across the land.
Yes. It was a strategic, military-style patrol of this energetic shield.
Wow. A border patrol testing the perimeter of the pressure vessel.
Precisely. He finds the evidence in the roots Masar and Masir.
Oh, okay, what do those mean?
Masar represents the outward journey. It's the testing of boundaries, the movement away from the center of absolute security, which is Beca.
And Masir.
Masir is the inevitable return journey, the gathering back to the safe center. The night journey, therefore, travels from the inner fortress of Beca outward to the western edge of the valley, to Masjid al-Aqsa by the Dead Sea, scanning the integrity of the perimeter.
Which brings us to the geopolitical tragedy of the texts. Because if you have an inner keep generating spiritual energy, you usually have an outer wall providing physical defense.
You do, and Dr. Waleed identifies that outer wall through a radical reinterpretation of the word jip.
Jipt. In standard commentary, Jipt is usually dismissed as just an abstract idol or some false deity, right?
Right, but Dr. Waleed identifies Jipt historically and geographically as ancient Egypt, specifically symbolized by Horus, the all-seeing eye.
The Eye of Horus. But he doesn't frame Jipt as inherently evil at first, does he? He frames it as a military asset.
Yes, in this framework, Jipt was a visible, external military shield.
Okay.
Its purpose was to protect the spiritual center of Beca from the encroaching Eastern threats, primarily Babylon. It was the physical armor protecting the energetic core.
So it's like a fortress. Beca is the inner reactor generating the SAR, the spiritual cohesion.
Right.
And JIP is the outer concrete wall. But if you stop maintaining the inner reactor and put all your faith in the concrete wall, the defense grid eventually collapses from the inside out.
And that is the exact historical failure Dr. Waleed outlines. The people abandoned the rope of God, which was their daily active generation of the inner energetic shield at Beca.
They stopped generating SAR.
Yes, and instead they relied entirely on the rope of men, the outer military might of Egypt.
They trusted the physical armor over the spiritual physics.
Exactly. And because they stopped generating the S in our equation, their L dropped to 0.
The shield collapsed.
Without their internal shield, their reasoning was destroyed. They became vulnerable to manipulation and ultimately allied with the very Eastern threat they were supposed to be defending against.
The Takat, or Babylon.
Yes. They invited the entropic force of Dur right through the gates.
Wow. It is a perfectly closed systemic loop.
It really is.
Dr. Khaled Waleed starts with a linguistic anomaly, moves to a thermodynamic equation of the soul, and maps it onto the tectonic reality of the Dead Sea Rift to explain a geopolitical collapse.
He proves that the physics of the human soul and the geology of the earth are speaking the exact same language.
That is just incredible. So let's pull all of this complex theology and geology back into your reality for everyone listening.
Absolutely. It's highly practical.
Dr. Waleed's framework isn't just an abstract map of the Middle East. It is an invitation for a highly practical audit of your own life. You have to ask yourself, what forces are actively acting as Dur right now?
Yeah, what is introducing entropy into your routine?
Right. What's puncturing your focus, separating you from your core values, and draining your energy like a drop of soap, shattering that surface tension?
And conversely, what practices are acting as SAR? What daily actions gather your scattered pieces, bind your energy back together, and lower the entropy in your mind?
Restoring that inner perimeter before the physical hits actually land.
Because the math is unforgiving. If the shield drops to 0, the reasoning goes with it.
It really does. I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over as you go about your day. We look back at ancient humans and assume they lacked the vocabulary for physics, atmospheric pressure, and tectonic geology, so they just wrote poetic myths instead.
We underestimate them constantly.
We do. But if Dr. Waleed's framework is accurate, and they were actually encoding advanced thermodynamics and geological anomalies into these spiritual texts, what other scientific realities are currently hiding in plain sight in the ancient stories we arrogantly think we already understand?
We might need to stop treating the ancients like poets and start treating them like physicists.
Keep your shields up.